I want to follow a question I thought I had already mapped. Is there a difference between justice and revenge? I came into this investigation convinced the answer was obvious. Yes, justice is measured, proportionate, institutional. Revenge is personal, emotional, excessive. The distinction felt clear. The trail didn't agree, and what I found instead was considerably more interesting than what I expected. Let me start with what the philosopher Jeffrie Murphy noticed, something that most people never name. When someone harms you, two things happen simultaneously. First, you want the harm acknowledged. You want someone, a person, a system, the world, to confirm that what happened was wrong, that it mattered, that you mattered. Second, something in you wants the person who caused the harm to feel something of what you felt, not just to know they were wrong, to experience a cost. Murphy called these two things different names. The desire for acknowledgement, that is closer to justice. The desire for the other person to suffer, that is closer to revenge. Both are understandable, neither is simple. And what I found in the trail is that most people, when they say they want justice, want both, and rarely have the clarity to distinguish which is which. In 1995, South Africa established the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. The country was emerging from apartheid, decades of systematic violence, humiliation, state-sanctioned oppression, the worst that human beings do to each other when power organizes itself around exclusion. The commission, led by Archbishop Desmond Tutu, made an offer that many considered morally radical, and many others considered morally inadequate. Perpetrators who came forward told the full truth about what they had done and applied for amnesty would not face criminal prosecution. The truth would be heard, documented, witnessed, but punishment in the conventional sense was largely set aside. Tutu called it restorative justice. Its premise, the goal of justice is not primarily to punish, it is to restore something, dignity, acknowledgement, the public record of what happened. Many survivors found it insufficient. Some called it a second betrayal. The perpetrators admitted what they did and walked free. Others found something they hadn't expected. The truth, heard publicly, witnessed, documented, gave them something that punishment might not have. Not closure, something more specific. Acknowledgement. The world now knew what happened. That knowledge could not be taken back. I notice both responses were honest. And I notice I cannot tell you which was right. There is a word that gets used in this territory that I want to be precise about. Forgiveness. There is a version of forgiveness that is, at its core, an instruction to the victim. Stop being angry. Move on. Let it go. This version serves the comfort of everyone except the person who was harmed. And there is another version, the one Tutu described, the one that appears in different forms across multiple traditions, that has nothing to do with excusing the harm. This version is something the victim does for themselves, not for the perpetrator, not for the community that finds the anger uncomfortable, for themselves. It is the decision, made freely, on their own timeline, to stop allowing what happened to them to define their relationship to the present. Not, what you did was acceptable. Something closer to, I refuse to let what you did to me in the past determine who I am in the present. That is not forgetting. It is not reconciliation. It does not require the other person to apologize or change. It is, at its core, a refusal to remain imprisoned in the wound. But here is what I didn't expect to find at the end of this trail. I entered this question thinking it was about psychology, about individual responses to harm, about the interior choices of the person who has been wronged. And the trail kept pointing somewhere else. Every time I examined a case, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, the Nuremberg trials, restorative justice programs, communities that found ways to repair after violence, the same pattern appeared. The capacity for genuine repair, not just punishment, not just anger, seemed to depend on something outside the individual. It depended on whether there was a structure capable of holding what happened, a community that could witness, an institution that could establish the record, a shared framework for what acknowledgement even means. The person who can move from revenge toward repair almost always has something the person who cannot doesn't have. Not more virtue, not more strength, something external, something that makes the individual capacity possible. I don't know yet what to call that something, but I notice it keeps appearing. Is there a difference between justice and revenge? Yes, but the line is less clean than I expected. Justice at its best is oriented toward what comes next, toward repair, toward the acknowledgement that what happened was wrong and that the world still has to be inhabited after it. Revenge is oriented toward the wound, toward returning pain to its source. It is understandable. It is often what the body wants first, and it almost never produces what it promises. But what I find most interesting is what this question revealed about itself. I came in thinking this was a question about individuals, about choices made inside a person. And I left with a different question. What makes repair possible at all? And why does it seem to require more than the individual who was harmed? I don't have an answer yet, but I notice the question has changed. And when the question changes, something in the investigation has moved. The question to sit with, is there something, a harm done to you, a wrong that was never acknowledged, where you haven't yet decided what you actually want? Not what you think you should want, what you actually want. And when you look at that honestly, does what you want require something outside yourself to become possible?